Hello friends, welcome back to Automation Tech Guru. So today I'm just going to start Selenium with C#.NET tutorial and live practical projects. So this training will be started today, and in the module 1 what we will see today, C# introduction, why I use C#, the history of the C#, and C# ID. Then we will install the Visual Studio uh, 2022 and then create a one project, and I will explain the program.cs file, and we will add a new class and create namespace, and also we will see the access modifier, public, private, default and protected. We will see the data types in C sharp, then we will switch to if statement, switch, loop, while loop, for loop, and some practical example with the looping. And also we will see the single dimension array and two dimension array, and we will see the functions, how we will create the functions, what are the type of functions, and how we will create a function with parameter and return types. And then after we will see the exception handling with the try catch block. So let's start. So first module first will be the introduction, C sharp introduction. So C sharp is pronounced C sharp. It is an object oriented, component oriented programming language. It directly support these concepts, making C sharp a natural language in which to create and use software components. C sharp also had added some new features with some new workload and emerging software design practices. At its core, you define types and their behavior. So, several C# features help to create robust and durable applications. Garbage collection. So, garbage collection will automatically reclaim memory occupied by unreachable, unused objects. So, when we are talking about the garbage collection, it is basically a memory cleaning system which automatically clear the memory if any object is not usable, or we are not using any object which is created in the memory. Nullable types. So nullable types guard against variable that don't refer to allocated object. So nullable type means when you create any variable that is not created against the object or allocated object, so that will be a nullable type, so we can remove that also. Exception handling provides a structured and extensible approach to error detection and recovery. So exception handling, basically when you run any program and you will get some exception, so instead of giving some system type error, we can handle that exception and we can provide the custom errors message to the user. Lambda expression, basically it supports functional programming techniques. So we will see how we can use the lambda expression. Then LINQ, that is language integrated query. The syntax creates a common pattern for working with the data from any source. So when you get any kind of data, any kind of structured data, we can query using this LINQ or language integrated query, and we can create one query based on the data, and then we can filter out or get the data from the that particular source or particular data. Language support for asynchronous operations, provide syntax for building distribution systems. So there are multiple language support for asynchronous operations, that is you can have the asynchronous operations that will be used for the different kind of building distributed systems. C sharp also have the unified type system, so we will see how we will do the typecasting in that. All C sharp type, including primitive types such as integer or double, inherit from a single root object. So whatever data type which we can see here, those are directly inherited from the object, that is a object type. All types share a set of common operations. So whenever you use any type, It will be a it will can be used as a common operations. Value of any type can be stored, transported, or operated upon in a consistent manner. So it means the C sharp support both the user defined reference type or value type. Like value type will be the string, or you can have any kind of string, and you can have the reference type is a string, or you can use the value type, that is the integer. So this is the introduction for this C sharp. Now we will move to next, that is why we can use the C sharp. So it is one of the most popular programming language in the world. It is easy to learn and simple to use. It has a use community support, and also it is an object oriented programming language which gives a clear structure to programs and allow code to reuse, lowering development cost. As C sharp is a close to C, C++ or Java, so it make it easy for the programming to switch to any other language or vice versa. So history of the C sharp. It is an object-oriented programming language created by Microsoft that runs on .NET framework. C sharp has roots from the C family, and language is close to other program or popular languages like C sharp, C++, and Java. The first version was released in the year 2002, and the latest version C sharp 10 was released on November 2021. And now they have announced in November 2022 the C sharp 11 and with the .NET 7. C sharp IDE. So an integrated development environment is used to create, edit, or compile any code that is used in the IDE, that will be the Visual Studio IDE. And application written in C plus or C sharp 10 use the .NET framework 6.0. So when you use Visual Studio 2022, you will use the application written in the C sharp 10, and you can have the .NET framework 6.0. So how we can install the Visual Studio? So for this you can have this URL. Based on this URL, you can just go to the C sharp community, and you can click on the download Visual Studio. So when you click on this, you will get one pop-up here for the installer, Visual Studio installer. So you can see this is the Visual Studio setup. When you double click on this, so it will ask for the admin permission, and you can see that before you get start you need to set up a few things so that you can configure your installation. So when you click on continue, it will ask for the download. So I already downloaded the installer here. I'm just cancel this and I will showcase Visual Studio installer. So you can see this is a Visual Studio installer, and you will get this Visual Studio Community 2022. So this basically allow you to create any kind of application, and it's also having the community help. If you want to get some want any kind of support, you can get that also. So I already installed the Visual Studio Community to 2022, so I don't want to install again, it's already installed. So after installation, you just need to go to the Visual Studio. So next will be the create a new project. So what we need to do, we just need to go to the Visual Studio. So as I said, we just use the Visual Studio 22. So you can see how this looks like. So you can see Visual Studio 22. You can have these options, that is clone the repository. If you want to use any GitHub or Azure DevOps, you can use this one. And then if you open a project which already created or any kind of solution, so you can open from here. And if you want to go to any particular local folder, if you click on it, it will go to the repository, and you can have the any kind of folder which can be open from here. And since we need to create a new project, so what we can do, we can just click on this create a new project. So you will get this kind of pop-up. Here you can see these are the some application which all I am already used, some of the projects which I already used. But for this, we what we can do, we can just search for the console application. So basically we will create a test projects, but right now I'm just creating a console application so that we can learn how we can work on this. So what we need to do, we just need to create this application.net. So this will be a command line application, and once you select this, you just need to click on next, and you can give the name of the application. So what we can do, we can have the name. So we already have a name like this. So we will give a name something like that, so that it will be easy for us. So what we can do, we can use Selenium C# tutorial project, and this will not allow any special character. So what we can do, we can use C# tutorial project. And the location, you can have any kind of location. So when you click on this, you can find the location which we already use, or you can create it in this triple dot. So when you click on this, you will get the browser option. So you can see uh, anywhere you can create a folder. Whatever we can do, we can just go to the C drive and create one new folder here, the same folder which I am talking about. And you just need to click on this and select this folder. So inside this folder, this project will be created. And if you want to use the solution in different location, then you need to check out this. Then it will create a solution in some different directory. Otherwise, you can just select this. So it will create the solution also with this project in the same directory. And you can select the version. So right now it is given only 4.88 version. Or if you have a 6.0 or 7.0, you can use the select the latest version which is applicable for this. Now when you click on create, it will create a new project. So it will set up all the DLLs, everything for you, and then it will create new project. So now you can see that this project is created. If you go to the solution explorer, you can see here this solution is created as Selenium C# tutorial project, and also the name of the project also Selenium C# tutorial project. And you can see these are the folders are created. So this will be assembly info, which assembly we are using here. And also if you go to the references, so you can see the analyzer, Microsoft C#, system.core, and system.data and system.data dataset extensions, system.net and HTTP, system.xml and system.xml link you. And this is the app.config file. So anything any configuration is needed for this project, we can have the this app.config file where we can put the configuration, and you can see the program.cs file. So the program.cs file basically is a class file. This is a class file which actually allow you to create any kind of code. You can write the code for this, and every time when you run this project, run this class, it will run from the main method. So this is a main method. This is a common method for this particular class, and this will be a always be a void method, so it will not return anything. It just need the argument. So whatever we write any code in any different classes, that should be run from this main only. So this is the main method which is allow you to run the code. So here you can see these are the namespaces. So we can, when we want to use any namespace, what we need to do, we need to write using, this is the keyword which you can use. So this will allow you to use any namespace which you want to use in your project. So right now we have like system, you put type system, you will get the system dot, and these are the some different namespace inside the system. You can see the configuration, data, component model, then you have dynamic, IO, link queue. So these are the different kind of namespaces we can use for our project. So whenever it required, we can just need to use this keyword using and the namespace. So namespace basically a bundle of the this is kind of a package which is allow you to identify your classes in which namespace it is written. So this is the namespace. Inside this namespace you can have n number of classes. If you want to create a new class, you just need to go to the project. You can just right click on it, and if you go to the add new item, existing item, or you can have the class. So when you want to add a new class, you can just select the template as a class and add it. Once you will add this class, it will go to the same project namespace. If you want to change the namespace, you can change this anytime. You can change the namespace based on your requirement. You can change it, and this class will be the public. It always be a public class. So we will see the identifier. If it is a public, how we can use it, or if it is a different identifier, then how we can use the particular class. And sometimes we need to use the static keyword also. That is basically to get the class specifically, use the class name as a object. So you cannot create any object for that static class. And this static void main, this is the main method where you can write any kind of code. So this is the program.cs. So you have these some using, you can use the namespace, you can have the namespace name, you can change the name, you can create a class as a static public or private protected, whatever class you want to create, you can create a class. So this program class is a public static class, and inside this class we have a main method, and that will be a non-returnable uh, method, that is using void. So if you use void, you cannot return anything from that method. So we will see in the functions. When we explain the function, I will tell you how we can write the returnable function. So now we will go to the next. So this says that add new class and create a namespace. So as I said, if you want to create a new class, you just need to go to you just need to create a right click on solution, then add item. If you want to add any different item, you can add it, otherwise you can just use the class. So we will give the name new class and add. So now you can see the difference between this any different class or program class. So program.cs always have this main function. So whenever you run this program, it will run through the main method only. But you can see the new class. It is a specifically class that user can create. So whatever you want to create, you just need to create. So this is the internal class, new class. Now if you want to put this namespace, so suppose you want to create a new some different namespace, so what we can do, we can create a new folder here. It will be add new folder, and this will be new namespace. So and we can put this new class inside the namespace. Allow this, yes. So now this go under new namespace, and if you expand this, so now what we can do, we can use this since this is inside the project name. So you can see this is the project name, and inside this we can use the new namespace. So this is a another namespace which we created. So it means that it will represent the structure of the project. So this is the project name. This is the namespace name. Inside this namespace, we have this new class. So you can see here, this will be a public. If you want to create a static, if you don't want to create any object of it, you can use the public class namespace or new class. When you create this class, and if you want to use any kind of method or whatever you want, you just need to create suppose I just want to create a variable public string name, and this name will be equals to, you can use the page. So it is saying that it is a static, it is a non-static, but your class is a static. So in the static class you cannot create any non-static variable, so we need to make it as a static. Now what we can do, we can call this class in the main function. So what we can do, we can just go to this and use the new class dot. So if you see when you type this new, and if you go to this new class, right, once you use this namespace automatically added. So you can see this is the namespace, and inside this is the project name, and this is the namespace. So we create a new namespace here, and same namespace we need to use to get this new class access. And when you click on dot, you can see the method is also coming. This is the variable is also coming, static string new dot name. So if you want to run this, what we can do, we can use the console dot write line, and in this what we can do, we can just pass this value. So when you run this in the console, you will see this name, and whatever name is there. So if you click F12, if you click F12, so you will see this name will be printed. So what we can do, we just need to run this. So for running this, you can just use this build solution. So it will just build the solution. So it is build now. You can see build successful. And if you want to run this, you just need to click on start. You can see uh, since it is taking very fast, so what we can do, we can use the sum system dot thread, or we can use directly thread dot sleep. In this sleep, what we can give some time, so for 5 seconds we can give, so at least it will wait for some time, so we can see the output also. So run this. You can see the page is printed and it wait for 5 seconds and then it will close. So in this way we create a new class, we create a variable, we assign a value to it, and this class of since it is a static class, we will not create any object for it. We directly call this class and we will go to the program, and in the main we call this new class dot name and we will print it. So you can see that it will print it on the console. So now next is access modifier. So there are four type of access modifier will be available. So you can see the public we already seen here. This is the public is modifier. So you can see this is the public. So public, the code is accessible for all the classes. So you can see here we created this public and that sorry, we created this new class as a public and the variable name also public. So it can be accessible to this main class in the class program class, and you can have this main function and you can call this. And next one is the private. So if you create any private identifier, then the code is only accessible within the same class. So suppose if I create this name as a private, what we can do, we just write the private. So now this name will not be useful outside this class. So if you go to this, you can see it is giving the error. What is the error? New class is inaccessible due to its protection level. It means that this name is now is a private and it can be used in within this class only. So if you want to use this console, if you want to write this, because it is in a protection level, so we cannot we cannot use this method, and this name can be used within this class only. So what we can do, we can create one method here, public static string, and it will be a name or public name. And what we can do, we can assign this value to this. So now what we have done, this is the private variable and this is a public variable. We assign the private value to the public one, and now we will print this one. Because this is a public one, it can be printable. Now again, if we run this program, the name will be printed. You can see this. So why it has happened? Because the name was the private, so it cannot be accessible. But because of the public name, we can access this private value. But this is the accessibility of this within the class only. So we use in the class, but inside the public method, a public variable. So this public variable used in the main function. So in this way you can create any private function, private name, private variable, or private property. Whatever you want to create, you can create it. Now next is protected. So the code is accessible within the same class or in class that is inherited from that class. So if you create this, now we will create a protected one. So protected static string, and this will be the protected name, and this will, what we can do, we can use the any name, and then you can just create this. Now you can see Yeah, so it cannot be a protected one, or this static class cannot have the protected one. So this means we cannot create any protected in new class. What we can do, we can create another class here. So public class, that will be a simple class parent. Inside this parent class, what we can do, we can create a one protected variable. So now you can see you will not get that error. And the protected means that it can be accessible within the class or with the any inherited class. So we will create one more class, that will be a child, and in this child we can create public, or we can use this we can inherit this parent, and this will be the, again this will be the public name, and here we can use the pro. So for using this pro name, what we need to do, we need to parent dot, since this is so this is actually a variable. So what we need to so here we need to create an object, parent object, and then we can use this parent dot, or you can use this new dot parent, and then the parent will be here, and parent dot, what we can do, we can just assign a value here, public name, this will be the child name. We will see how it will be accessible to there. So what we can do, we can create a object here, create a variable child new parent, and here what we can do, we can use the console dot write line, and you can use this child dot, you can see So basically this class is not required because we need to use this class, and we can inherit this one, program class, by parent. And you can create object of this program class. You can see parent dot, sorry, pro dot, so this will be an added one, and this will create a new program. You can see pro dot, you can see this pro name is coming because this pro name is parent, from coming from the parent. So now you can use this one because this is accessible only when the class is uh, level is protected. So if you run this, you will see the output. So we run this, you can see first it is print the age, then any name which is basically coming from the new class, and this new inside in the new class you can have this parent protected. So now next, now next one will be the sorry, next one will, which we can use the internal. So internal, the code is only accessible within its own assembly but not from the other assembly. So this is something which we can use when we will create the different assemblies. Now we will go to the data types. So what are the data types available in C sharp? So you can see here the integer, this is having a 4 byte, and the storage you can see this number from to this number, and long it will be a 8 byte, that is size to location, and it's having the store whole number from this to this, so it's a huge number. And after that you can have the float, so this basically is storing the fractional number, and it is store the 6 to 7 decimal digit. So if you go to again code, so you can see we have an integer, you can create any integer abc equals to 1 to whatever you want to create. So this is the integer. If you want to use this number, something like that, then it will give the error when you run this. See, it says entire constant is too long, so we have some limitations for the integer. Then if you want to use the long, you can have abc long, abc. So here you can pass any number, this is applicable, accessible. And next was float. So if you want to use float, and then you can use the f abc, and here you can have the number dot, you can use the 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 like this. So it's given the error, literal of type cannot be implicitly converted, type float, use f suffix to create a literals. So it means we need to remove this one more, this says actually a double. So if you remove this, it says F. Something wrong with the float. It says store fractional number sufficient to storing decimal digit. And if you use the double, D, ABC, and you can use the point any number. So this is allowed, but this is not allowed. Okay, so it will say you can just use this as a float. So you can see this is a double constant, and you can use the float. Otherwise, you can use directly double. And then we have the bool, character, and a string. So bool basically the boolean. This yeah. So you can see this is a boolean, and this will be by default is false. If you want to use it, you can just put the true. So in this way you can create a boolean. And character, so character just having the 1 byte, a 2 byte. The store a single character letter surrounded by the single quote. So if you use the char, char single, so you can use the single character a. This is allowed. But if you put anything beyond this, it will give the error that's too many characters and character literal. So for this you can use the string, and a string str will be always come in double quotes, and whatever you want to use any string. So we have used this string as name. So this having only single character. So these are the some data types which we can use in the C#. Now we will go to the statement. So if statement. If statements basically having the if statement, it's having the condition, and you can write the code block to be executed when if condition evaluates to true. So if you put any condition which is written as any true, then we will get this code executed. Otherwise we will go to the else, and it will this code will be executed if the valuation is false. So in this way we can create any if statement. So we will go to the code. Now here we remove this, and we can directly use this only. Here you can just so here we can use the if condition. So what we can do, if we can put name dot contains this is a private one, so we can use this public one dot. We can use this only. So here we will put some string variable. Yeah. So for this, basically we need to create a method. So what we can create public void and test, or if else. So here what we can do, we can pass some string name, and here we will check if name is not null, not equal to null, and or name dot contain any name. So I just pass from there. It should be not null. So this will print console dot write line, and it will print name. Okay, or else it will print what it is coming. Same thing we can use here also, name. So if we will pass this to name, then it will print here, otherwise it will go to this. So what we can do, we can use this. Okay, here we will create a project pro dot. Now what we can do, we can call the method. So pro dot if else method, and we will pass name as, first we will pass stage, and then we will wait for some time, and then we will pass something else. So then it will print else. So now we will run this. So first it print stage, and it will wait for some time, then it will print else. It means that first we pass the stage, so it will go to this if function, if statement, then it will go to the, if we will pass anything else, then it will go to the this function, this else part. So in this way you can use the if and else. Now we will go to the switch. So switch statement is basically when it match the expression with the variable, then we will go to the case, and whatever we pass here, that case should be matched to this value should be matched with the case, and then it will this statement will be executed. Or after executing this case, we just need to break and it will go to the default, and after default we will get some statement can be executed, and then we will get the break. So in this way switch will be used. So basically why we use the switch, if you want to use different if else, suppose I am using this if, or here we again put the condition if else. Again we will put some condition here. We will give some maybe name dot contain something else, or we pass as else. Then we will put again else here. So if you put multiple time multiple if else conditions, then it will be not easy to track this, or it will not looks good to use this multiple if else statements. So to avoid that, what we can do, we can create, we can use the switch statement. So here we can use uh, switch. So how it works, you just type it and tab it, so you can see switch on. So when you say name, okay, and you have the case, in the case you can put name as Tej. Sorry. Then break. So now here what we can do, we can just use the case. After this we will use the console. So here we can write the name. So if we pass this as a stage, it will go inside this and it will print this name. Otherwise, if you use another case where you can pass else, then again you just need to use the console. And in the default also you can have the actual. So if to easy understand, we can use the days. That will be easy to understand. If I pass day 4 here, or day 3, and here we can use 1, that will be the Monday. Then day 2, here we can pass Tuesday. So now we can use the break. and we just need to copy this. We can put other numbers also. So this will be 1 2 3 4 5 6 and one more, or 7 will be Wednesday, and then this will be a Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and this will be Sunday. So if we pass any number from here, so what we can just cut this down and create one method after this. Which integer value. You can see we will use this value here, so we can remove this one and we can use directly this value. So now we will go to this, call the method pro.switch, pass value 3, and here again we can use the switch method and we can pass 5, and then we can run it. So every time it will run the default also. You can see here it come Wednesday, then 5 Friday, so you can see it came to these 4. If we will not pass here anything which is matching, so we will pass either 0. Let's see what will happen. You can see Sundays displayed. So in this way you can use the switch statement.